Good morning, Year 3. We're on the last two chapters now of the 100-mile-an-hour dog. And this was Trevor and Tina's idea of creating a dog exercising machine. But the problem is the dog is not playing ball. He's not interested. So, chapter 11. "Walkies," I cried, and dropped Streaker onto the whirring track. There was a startled yelp as Streaker was caught by the carpet and hurled backwards at high speed. She shot off the rear of the track, whizzed out through the door, rocketed across the kitchen and ended up with her backside rammed in the open front of the washing machine, which luckily wasn't switched on. Oh dear. Streaker fixed me with a bewildered gaze as if to say, how on earth did I get into this position? Her front paws were firmly on the ground, but the back half of her was even more firmly wedged in the washing machine. I ran over and tried to pull her out as gently as I could, but Streaker was jammed there like King Arthur's sword in the stone. "Now what?" Tina gave me a silent shrug. "She can't move," I went on. "We've got to get her out. We need help." Tina shrugged again. "What kind of help?" she said. "Who do we ask? Plumbers? A garage? Fire brigade? Fire brigade." I leapt the telephone. They get cats out of trees and things, don't they? Maybe they get dogs out of washing machines. It seemed the logical answer to me. The fire brigade could toddle around and they'd have Streaker out in a jiffy. However, this was where we hit our next little problem. I wanted to ring the fire station and have a friendly chat about stuck dogs, but you can't ring the fire station without dialing 999. The telephone was answered immediately and I kept saying, "Look, this isn't an emergency," but the next thing we heard was dee-daw, 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 dee-daw. Talk about embarrassing. 2 fire engines screeched to a halt outside, and moments later the house was full of firemen racing around, uncoiling hoses and dashing upstairs, waving axes ready to break down any doors. "Where's the fire, lad?" asked the chief fire officer. "It's not exactly a fire," I murmured. "It's more like a dog stuck in a washing machine." And I pointed out Streaker. The chief fire officer was very good and he sized up the situation at once. "Right, lads," he bellowed. "We need cutting gear and the pliers and the grease on the double. Got a bit of doggy problem here? Take care. Don't hurt her." Tina peeped through the front window. "You've got lots of nosy neighbours, haven't you, Trevor?" It was true. The street was lined with about 50 people, all ages, all colours, all sizes, and all staring at us very hard and muttering amongst themselves. In the middle of this, Mum arrived home. 2 fire engines were blocking the road in front of her home, with their orange and blue lights flashing furiously. Hoses dangled from every window and firemen were running in and out of her front door. She came rushing in, making even more noise than the fire sirens. "Where's the fire? My house is going up in flames. Is everyone safe?" The chief fire officer tried to calm her and helped her to an armchair. "Don't worry, madam. There's no fire, but your dog's stuck in your washing machine." "Streaker!" cried Mum, leaping up at once. "She's been tumble-washed. She'll drown. Oh, the poor dog. Get her out." "It's all right," explained the chief fire officer, calming her down. "She's going to be fine. The machine isn't on. She just has a stuck bottom. It won't take long." At that moment, one of the firemen shouted, "She's out, Chief, no problem." And Streaker went whizzing round everyone, barking with delight, jumping up and trying to lick their faces and generally looking remarkably cheerful and unhurt by her little adventure. The firemen all had a good laugh about it, and Streaker probably got more pats than she'd had since she was born. Mum made them all a cup of tea. After that, they climbed back into their glorious machines and tootled back to the station. Mum waved them goodbye, all smiles, then came back inside and shut the front door with an enormous bang. Ominous bang. She glared at her exercycle, her tights and the old stair carpet. I could tell she knew there must be a connection between this weird contraption in the front room and Streaker getting jammed in the washing machine. Right then, she hissed. Let's hear it, Trevor, and it had better be good. My heart sank, rather like the Titanic, only a lot faster with no survivors. It was my idea, Mrs. Larkey, said Tina, looking Mum straight in the eyes. Really? Mum sounded as surprised as I was. What was Tina up to? I knew better than to own up at this point. It was best to let Tina get on with it. I suggested we build a dog exercising machine. Mum glared at the stair carpet. A dog exercising machine, she repeated. Using my best tights, I see. Tina nodded. I pedalled a bit too fast and Streaker fell off and got stuck. We couldn't get her out, I butted in. We were worried about her, so we called the fire brigade, Mum finished off for us. For several moments she just stared at the contraption we had built. She took a deep, deep breath and sighed. I think you have both been very silly. Still, at least it wasn't the police this time. Now clear up and get my exercycle put back the right way. You owe me a pair of tights. Trevor Larkey, she went huffing off upstairs to get changed. I looked at Tina with relief. Phew, that was close. Why'd you tell her it was your idea? She gave a little shrug. How many friends have you got? She asked. I was a bit taken aback. Friends? I don't know. I've never counted. Not all that many, I suppose. How many? She insisted. I thought for a few moments. I know quite a few people, I stalled. I didn't want to say any more. It was too embarrassing. Tina folded her arms. I could feel her eyes drilling into me. I don't mean people, you know. They don't count. How many friends? Boys or girls? I asked, still stalling as much as possible. Either. Both, Tina answered nonchalantly. My face was burning. It must have been bright red. One, I admitted. Me? Asked Tina. Of course, I snapped. She gave me a quick sideways glance. That's all right then, she said quietly. What was all right? What was she going on about? Anyway, parents are never nearly so cross with other people's children, she continued matter-of-factly. It's something I've noticed. Your mum would have gone on shouting for ages if she thought it was your idea. As soon as I said it was mine, she calmed down and went away. I sat there stunned. Why had I never noticed things like that? I think it's because Tina's a girl. Girls notice things like that. Well, that's what I think anyway, and it's the only explanation I can think of. Mind you, I was about to be more stunned than at any time in my life, before or since. Chapter 12. We'd better take the dog out, Tina reminded me. She hasn't actually had any exercise yet. I fetched the dog lead. Come on, Streaker, time for walkies. Streaker leapt to her feet, trotted straight over, plonked her bottom on the floor and waited for her to clip the lead to her collar. Were we astounded? No, that's not the word. Flabbergasted. That sounds better. We were flabbergasted. Streaker looked up at me with eyes that seemed to say, all right, I'll do anything, but don't jam my bum in the washing machine again. Pinch me, I'm dreaming, murmured Tina. Take her up to the field and see if she still obeys you. All the way to the field, Streaker was as good as gold, trotting quietly by my side. When we got there, I let her off the lead. She went speeding off at once, and I thought that was it. But as soon as I shouted, walkies, Streaker came hurtling straight back again. Tina couldn't stop laughing. That was what you said to her when you put her on the exercising machine, walkies. For some reason, it makes her come straight back to you. It's brilliant, Trev. Streaker's been trained. It took several seconds for this to sink in properly. Tina was right, Streaker was trained. That meant we hadn't lost the bet, and she could come off death row. Everything was going to be all right. We stared at each other with enormous grins inside ourselves. I almost hugged Tina. Almost, I said. Tina and I were still celebrating this when something even more unexpected happened. Streaker was charging around the woods doing a normal everyday impression of a cruise missile when we heard startled cries and Charlie Smug suddenly appeared on the path. He wasn't alone. Sharon Blenkinsop was with him and they were holding hands. They stared at us in horror. I wish you could have seen Charlie's face. He was furious. He was scared. He was worried. He was embarrassed. He wanted to die, and all at the same time. He hurriedly let go of Sharon's hand, but it was too late. We had seen everything. "Hi, Charlie," said Tina ever so sweetly. "Got yourself a girlfriend?" "No, I haven't." His face was getting very red. "Charlie," cried Sharon, punching his shoulder, "you said—" Tina and I had to bite our lips to stop ourselves from laughing out loud. Charlie's eyes narrowed to dangerous slits. "If you breathe a word to anyone, I'll kill you both," he threatened. "It was your pesky dog's fault. My dad says she should be put down. She's uncontrollable." Just at that moment, Streaker went whizzing past. "Walkies!" I shouted, and she came racing back, skidded on all fours and sat obediently by my side. "She's no trouble," I said. "I've trained her." Charlie's face turned white. "I don't believe it," he said hoarsely. "You better had," said Tina. "We've won that bet, Charlie, and that means that you've lost, and that means that you've got to wash in the old tin bath." Oh, no, there was no way Charlie was going to let this happen. He pulled himself up to his full height. He knew there was no way we could force him into that bath. "Oh, yeah," he sneered. "Who's going to make me? You two wimps. You've got to be joking." Charlie was right, of course. We had no chance of getting him into that tub unless he got in himself, and he wasn't going to do that in a million years. "It was a bet," said Tina, "and you agreed to it. Get lost." Tina folded her freckled arms across her chest and sighed. "Well, I'm afraid that leaves us no choice. We should have to tell all your friends that we saw you in the woods holding hands with Sharon Blenkinsop." "Charlie!" squeaked Sharon, hands to her mouth in horror. "You wouldn't," spluttered Charlie. "Of course we would. We had a bet, Charlie, and we won. Either you get in that tin bath, and don't forget to wash your hair," I added, "or we tell your pals that you've got a girlfriend, lover boy." Charlie caved in. He was completely crestfallen. "It's the last day of the holiday tomorrow," Tina went on. "You can have that until then to decide. See you tomorrow, Charlie." Tina and I set off home. I shouted, "Walkies!" and Streaker came bursting out from the grass and trotted home with us, tail wagging cheerfully. If I'd had a tail at that moment, mine would have been wagging like crazy. Dad had just got in, and we showed him and Mum how obedient the dog was. They were pretty amazed, of course, and why not? It was amazing. Mum handed over the £30 and said it was worth every penny. I reminded her that I owed money for the dog biscuits and her tights and the phone bill. She told me to forget it. The dog behaved himself, and that was worth a fortune. Even Dad gave way eventually. But that was only because he had brought home a new golfing video. 50 classic golf shots, I ask you. Bring on those tanks. And he wanted some peace and quiet so that he could sit down and watch it. And that's it, really. It was great to have £30 sitting in my pocket. The only thing I felt a little bad about was teasing Charlie over having a girlfriend. After all, said Tina, we've never liked being teased about it. "We're different," Tina explained. "Charlie didn't want anybody to know about him and Sharon. So, we don't mind," said Tina, giving her ever so sweet smile. "I like being your girlfriend, and I don't care how many people know." I was thunderstruck. I suppose I should have seen it coming. I thought, no, please, not this. Not after everything. I've been through. Tina began to sort of lean towards me. I think it was the first time I'd ever moved faster than Streaker. That's the end of the story, children. I hope you enjoyed it. It's very funny. Now, as you know, it's Friday today. So, as from tomorrow, your Easter holidays start. So you've got 2 weeks to rest. We won't be setting any tasks on the website until the first Monday after the Easter holidays. So have a good rest. And then, when we come back to summer 1, we've got lots of work for you to get on with. Okay? Goodbye, everybody. It was lovely reading to you.